We tell stories to remember who we are and the whys of what we do. We write to recall what we've intended as well as what we're going to do and all that we've gone through. We write to remember the natural urgings of our hearts and not just the rote recitations of the mind. It is our stories, in fact, that keep us from forgetting. From forgetting not only the accumulated knowledge of plants and medicine and philosophy and spirituality, but also to remember our hopes and our dreams. Stories that help us to recall how to fully realize those dreams, make them real and evident. We write in order to better remember the plaintive voice of our callings and how we're both worthy of them and able to respond. We write to record our realizations, to recount our mistakes, to remember all that we've accomplished, wonderfully if imperfectly, and to remember the feel of the satisfaction and fulfillment. To remember what needs to still be addressed and what deeds yet remain to be done. And so it is with the stories that we caretake and the stories we create. Stories about the amazing herbs that we study and administer. Their powers never fade for us long as they're spared the habitat to thrive. But forgotten is the memory of their distinguishing features and their shapes. Gone is the knowledge of their effects and potential healing uses if we are ever to neglect their telling. As plant healers, we're entrusted not only with the accumulative wisdom around their medicines, but also with the tales of their struggles and their accomplishments. The plant's cherished homelands and ecology, their history of relationships with both humanity and with the rest of the living world. We're not here just to employ herbs like useful ingredients or hired staff, but instead it's for us to caretake and share with others the herbs' evolving tales. Welcome to another episode of our Plant Healer's Path. This round we're going to take a deep dive into the practice of writing about herbalism and its medicinal plants, with some useful how-to tips and wolfen encouragements. As the author of dozens of books and the co-editor of the magazine Plant Healer Quarterly, I've accumulated nearly 20 years of experience with crafting and publishing that I'm more than happy now to be sharing with you. And if our discussion helps to prompt or to equip your own writing, then it's well worth my time. You can nonetheless increase the reach of this video by mashing that little like button, leaving a comment below, and sharing its link on your personal social media. Thank you. Now let's get going, shall we? Whenever we speak or write about herbs, we help to preserve and perpetuate their stories in a collective cache of herbal folklore that should never be trivialized. Not only volumes of information on plants, usage, and preparation, but also a common sensibility and oft-found values amongst those who gravitate to plants and to nature for their allies in the processes of healing. Our literature of healing is dynamic and evolving, and it varies depending on the region from which it heralds and the traditions that it follows. But it usually features a heartful or an intuitive as well as a studied approach, including a deep valuing of the wisdom of the past that can be trumped only by repeated personal experience to the contrary. I suggest you write about herbs and keep a diary of your experiences with them, even if they will never be shared with anybody else. Such detailed notes and storytelling can root you in your practice. Record your experiences for future evaluations, and provide the notes for moving forward with your treatments or your medicine making. And if you would possibly enjoy the process of crafting writings for sharing with other folks, it's a craft that can be learned, personalized, and endlessly improved. Means and venues are many. A few where you can be paid outright for your efforts, and others that can lead to an income stream by raising your public profile, introducing readers to your work, and drawing attention to paid offerings like your courses or your herbal products. Some options include online blogs, newsletters, and social media posts, articles in herbal and natural healing magazines such as Plant Healer Quarterly, academic papers for journaling, for storing or as reference material online, creating your own written content for your websites, creating books and even that you can submit for consideration to paying publishers who specialize in natural healing subjects, or even writing, as I do, and self-publishing the kinds of book titles that you're most excited about sharing with the world, regardless of their amount of so-called commercial potential. Both advanced practitioners and newbies can benefit from articles and books on a huge and growing range of topics, many of which you undoubtedly have a lot to say about. I could list for you some of the kinds of subject areas that we seek for issues of our Plant Healer Quarterly magazines, just as an example. First off, we're always looking for materia medica. Literally, this is the material, the physical matter that we use as our medicines, the actual fungi and the herbs themselves. Needed are profiles of all useful and mushroom species, especially those which aren't written about as much, and those more familiar species that are only lately we're discovering like new actions and benefits for. Next, there seems to be an endless call for what's referred to as the clinical stuff, such as practical information about illnesses, wounds, and other health conditions, about their symptoms and their impacts in our physiological bodies. Other crucial clinical topics are things like intakes and assessments, treatments and therapies. We're also desiring articles about medicine making. That's another really good one, empowering people with the recipes and the skills needed to turn their plant matter into applicable tinctures, tonics, salves, and so forth. Folks need to know about the historic and cultural roots of the field. They need to know about the experiences and the knowings from the past that can inform and equip us all now. This includes various healing traditions from all around the world, bioregional and ancestral herbalism. We also want writings about herbal lore and plants, the plants of mythology, which adds a whole other inspiring dimension, awakening us to their significance, their magic, and their power beyond their current practical purposes. Herbal energetics and constitutional considerations are needed and often overlooked. Women's health deserves its own focus pages, writings about issues and conditions specific to the female body. Important also are different modalities besides herbs that can be used in conjunction with plant medicines, approaches and techniques like nutritional therapy, aromatherapy, hydrotherapy, exercise, yoga, and massage. Not so common in herbal-related publications is Plant Healer Quarterly's interest in publishing your insights around healthcare access and health activism, about free clinics and disaster medicine, emotional issues and treating our trauma, on expansive topics like consciousness and entheogens, aphrodisiacs, and cannabis medicines. Different kinds of venues and audiences are going to call for different writing structures, different tones, different feel. For example, an appealing, accessible, conventional, clear, and deliberately basic and simplified article or an online post for general audiences is pretty crucial. It's crucial that we feed information and inspiration to those that are just newly curious about herbalism in general and about your topic in particular. These are usually going to be short, keeping in mind many folks' short attention spans these days. And so they need to be focused narrowly on a particular subject. Now, a somewhat longer and more detailed discussion is good for intermediate audiences, such as for use in online resources and courses, or in general natural health magazines. Also important are the advanced academic toned writings with considerable citing of scientific research for scholarly journals and for advanced authoritative books. Advanced or groundbreaking works with a more personal approach and literary feel, such as we feature in Plant Healer Quarterly and its resulting compilation books. That's important too. And books and articles that consciously bridge plant medicine and other fields and interests, such as melding medicinal herbs with cooking, incense as aromatherapy as well as ritual, or infusing the importance of medicinal plants into articles aimed at gardeners, wildcrafters, homeschoolers, and so on. In each of these examples, it works best if you speak in your most natural tone, be that objective or scholarly, subjective and informal, poetic or punky. In all cases, you'd be well advised if you, 1, write about what you know best, what you still wonder about the most, and what you're most excited to explore more, as well as to share with your readers. Your very best writings will be about what you are currently most excited over, what you are most passionate about right now. 2, draw on information that already exists in the literature, but also parse and critique, test and verify, recombine, extrapolate, conjecture, and reimagine. Thirdly, strive not to simply repeat what is most commonly known and taught and published. Challenge commonly held beliefs, common claims, and examine your own sets of assumptions. Importantly, try to always give credit to the authors and the teachers that you learn things from. Citing sources not only demonstrates your gratitude, but it gives readers clues as to what else to read and where else to go to learn. Emphasize what you have actual experience in. Describe your processes of learning and the basis for your understandings. Cite case studies that describe what has or hasn't worked and why or why not. Vision is exciting, and all the more so with the addition of analysis and experience, synthesis, and indeed, real-world application. And lastly, ground your streams of information in your actual practitioner's existence, in physical environs and activities. Writings are enriched and brought to life by scenes of you gathering the plants or processing them by hand, by your evocations of the plant's tastes and smells, by your moments of uncertainty and wondering or failure, as well as by your expressed excitement at helping someone heal or discover something new. When it comes to Plant Healer Quarterly in particular, we value not only the most authoritative essays, but also those that are poignantly folk-hearted and grassroots, place-based, and nature-informed. Articles that are in their own ways novel or edgy, that challenge assumptions, challenge the status quo. Writings that encourage folks to learn and work with herbs regardless of official authorization. Writings that promote the well-being of the plants and the planet, as well as of our own humankind. Works that inspire new ways of thinking and more effective ways of treating and healing. Ways of being more holy ourselves, more effective in all we do. We welcome solid clinical work that's too long or complex for most other publications, and Plant Healer especially loves pieces that normal and professional journals might never touch. Whether you're an enthused new discoverer of the effects of plant medicines or else a long-standing herbalist with years of experience, whether you're a nerdy researcher or a backyard cultivator, a seller of remedies or a kitchen medicine maker, a brewer or a shroomer, a border-stretching psychonaut or a culture shifter, a culinary artisan or a 21st century alchemist. Your knowledge, your experiences, your experimentations, your recipes, your insights, and your excitement can prove of immense value to all others on this path of healing and becoming. Believe in your gifts. Believe in what you have to offer. Believe in your growing knowledge and in your ability to put these things into words and then into practice. Writing is one potent way for you to reach the diverse community of plant-obsessed seekers. Writing can be a means for you to contribute to their education and inspire them on their paths, all while making the entire world aware of your work, your contribution, your missions, your offerings. The tales of the plants are an integral part of your personal healer's story. And yours, my friends, is a tale to be told. Venture and save.